The 2013 Festival of Flight was the second Cleethorpes Airshow following the huge success of the 2012 event. This year it's bigger and better, with longer flying hours and a huge range of aircraft, as the director of the event explains.
I mean, we've got, for both days, we've got the iconic Flying Fortress B17, Sally B, which is obviously well known locally for people of a certain age range like mine, of the Memphis Belle, being filmed at the old RF Binbrook. So that's coming both days. That's obviously iconic for there. We've got some iconic fighters, we've got Hurricanes, we've got Spitfires, Battle of Britain Memorial flights. So that caters in that particular department. We've got some biplane as well, a gyrocopter, which people really enjoyed last year. And Sunday, to me, again, we've got some iconic aircraft. We have the Vulcan. We're really pleased to have the Vulcan on board with us. We've got the Lancaster coming as well. As I said, B17 again. And the Red Arrows start the show on that day. Absolutely fantastic. What a wonderful weekend that's going to be.
Saturday's display came to an abrupt halt when a thick mist rolled in at a rate of knots. All was well the following morning though, as something better rolled in: the Red Arrows. Designed as a training aircraft, the Hawk T1 is famous around the world as being the aircraft of choice of Lincolnshire's very own Red Arrows. Many a boy's dream is to become a pilot, but how do you become an elite pilot with the Arrows?
Application is purely voluntary. All of our pilots have volunteered to join the team. They all have to have a number of criteria fulfilled before they can apply to join. That is, they have to be a fast jet pilot in the Royal Air Force that has completed 1,500 hours of fast jet flying, completed at least one frontline tour on an operational aircraft type. They have to be assessed as above average and be the rank of flight lieutenant, and then they can apply to join. In fact, eligible throughout the year, there's only around 45 to 50 people in the Royal Air Force that can apply, and we get about 30 to 35 applicants every year. We then shortlist those down to 9, where the selection then becomes a little bit more intense, and we carry out flying tests, interviews, and other testing with the applicants to then choose 2 or 3 to replace the pilots that are leaving that year.
So it's a pretty detailed selection process. What kind of things are you looking for a good Red Arrows pilot?
It's a very detailed selection process. Obviously, the most important thing is the flying ability, to make sure that the pilots that are applying have the hand and feet skills to control the aircraft in a smooth manner. Also, how they're going to be learning their learning curve, how quickly they can learn, how quickly they can take on board the comments that they've had from the previous sortie, for example. So that's the most important thing, is the flying. A lot of it is personality based. We spend a lot of time together in the summer, probably nearly 15 hours a day together. So we need to get on. There's a lot of trust involved with the job. You need to trust the pilot you're flying next to when you're not necessarily looking at his aircraft and only 10 feet away. So very important flying skills, but also the personality is also very important. Well, the training actually starts in October when we finish our display season. We'll start flying in small formations with our new pilots, building up their skills and confidence levels, gradually getting larger and larger in the formation size before hopefully at the end of February we'll complete our first 9-ship display run through. Then we go out to Cyprus, where the more predictable weather of the Mediterranean allows us to put polish on the display, and then we will carry on getting that polish together, hopefully achieving our public display authority around the end of May, which means we can change into red suits and then display to the public. We designed the display by the pilots actually have their own suggestions about what they'd like to see. So if it's in the first half of the display with the 9 aircraft formations, whatever shapes the pilots want to see, we'll discuss it as the 10 pilots and decide what we want to have in the show. Then in terms of manoeuvres in the second half, then again, if people have got ideas, we'll develop them from safety cases. We'll try and think of the what ifs. So risk management is always a key thing with designing new manoeuvres. We'll come up with a new manoeuvre and then put it to our senior officers for approval, and then go and try it and see how we get on.
One of the largest aircraft at the airshow, the Vulcan used to be a familiar sight across the skies of Lincolnshire, but sadly, no more.
Okay, she left RAF service in March 1993. They wound the Vulcan fleet down from the early 80s, and the last operational flight of a Vulcan in RAF service was 1984. But they kept one aircraft for display purposes, which was rather nice from the public perspective. So we had the Vulcan flying until September 1992, when she was officially retired, and then sold into private hands in March 93.
So how did the trust start?
Yeah, it's been a bit of a roller coaster ride, to say the least. I mean, the trust was first formed in 1997 by Dr. Robert Fleming, who was the driving force behind getting the Vulcan back to flight. People said it couldn't be done, but the trust was formed, and we applied for funding from the Heritage Lottery Fund. First time round we refused. Second time round they granted £7.2 million. So a lot of money to restore the aircraft. So the work could then carry on. That was in 2004. It took between 2004 and 2007 to restore the aircraft to the highest possible specification, and then of course you've made her first flight in October 2007.
Costs are a big challenge.
Yeah, it's just over £2 million a year, which is a lot of money. Highly complex aircraft, and of course in these difficult times, like any charity, we struggle to raise the money. And we're in a situation where now we want to try and fly the aircraft until 2015. We've got an initiative called Operation 2015 to allow us to do that. And what we need to do to enable us to carry forward is to raise between now and November £400,000 either by pledge or donation, so the trustees of the charity can see that money is available to carry out an essential modification to the leading edge and also the winter service to enable to fly into 2014 and then finally and sadly the final year 2015. We call it the People's Aircraft because the people have funded it right through the Heritage Lottery Fund to individual donations on an ongoing basis. So the plan is to retire the aircraft to a location that hasn't been decided yet and keep her in working order so she can do things like fast taxi down runways and that type of thing. And also create a visitor centre so people can actually come and see the Vulcan, because I always try and make a point that this project is more than just a flying aircraft. It's about heritage, it's about engineering, and it's about inspiring young people to go into an engineering, science and technology careers in the future. And she certainly does that, because when you see young people watching that aircraft, they think it's a modern aircraft. Of course, it was designed in 1948, so it just shows how far we've come in that time, really. So yeah, it's a lot around it, but the idea is the aircraft will be kept in perpetuity forever and a day once she retires, but she won't fly again.
What airshow is complete without some sort of parachute display? The Red Devils were due to drop in on the first day, but due to a combination of high tide and later low cloud, they couldn't perform. However, the crowds did get the chance to watch the Ravens parachute display team on the second day.
Sergeant Walker, the finale to the whole air show,
Yeah.
did it go well for you?
Very well. I think the big man upstairs was smiling on us because I think he gives a real big blue hole to jump from.
Yeah, I think you achieved something today that maybe the Red Devils didn't yesterday.
We certainly did.
Yeah, one up on them.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, I mean the Red Devils are a great team and they're very professional. However, it's just unfortunate. Yesterday was bad for them, and today it was on the cards were stacked in our favour and went for it.
Yeah. So tell me about the Ravens. How long have you been going?
The Ravens have been going since 1982. They were initially formed and called the Black Lanyards. I changed the name to Ravens because everybody knows what a raven is and the colour of a raven. The reason why before it was called Black Lanyards is I was quite worried that the public won't understand what a lanyard is. So I changed it to the Ravens, and that's pretty much what happened. Obviously, the team's been handed on. All the boys are volunteers, and that's how we run.
Yeah, good display today. Was the wind a problem for you? Was it a bit of a breeze?
It's bumpy off the buildings because you get clean air. Then once your parachute goes behind buildings, you get turbulence. You notice the guys' canopies were twitching. It takes quite a bit of skill to keep it in line and trim the parachute for a safe landing.
Yeah. Okay, overall then, good day out for you.
Very good day out. Very good, and we got one on the Red Devils.
Thanks so much for your time.
No worries.
Overall, I think it's been absolutely fantastic. Support the public, support the traders, support of the sponsors, and above all everybody else who's contributed. We've had a lot of volunteer help here today, and it's absolutely phenomenal. I mean, really, I could write a book on the number of people and the organisations who've got involved, and it really has been fantastic.